Get to it. Woo! Hey, new week, new opportunity, new week, new you. You know, I was listening to some PD as I was doing my fastest cardio this morning, and TD Jake said you can get a new shirt, you can get a new house, you can get a new haircut, but it means nothing if it's the old you inside of it. You get a new car and it's the old man sitting in it, it's still the same old experience. So really excited to leave the past in the past. It is over. It was a great sermon yesterday by One Church LA. If you ever are in LA, go, or you can always check it out at onechurchla.org. Devon Franklin, he was like a guest speaker. He's actually married to Megan Good. He's the guy on the cover of their book, if you ever seen that book. And he was breaking down stuff, and he was like, I got 3 words for you about the past. And he said, it is over. And there was just something about that really resonated with me. It's like just a clear cut. You can't get to your best future if your attention's still in the past. So we're in a new week, which is a new mindset that we're cultivating here on Triple M. So I'm your host, Aubrey. We got Roxy coming, just dropped off our hot Herbalife tea, burns calories, got the fiber in there to clear out the stomach. You know, the #1 nutrition in the world. Shout out if you're on the team. If you're on the chat thread, can you guys put your name and where you're from in the chat thread? We want to know where you're at. And if you're a coach on the team, put, hey, I'm a coach. If you're a client, put, I'm a client. And if you're not yet, put, I'm about to get going and get ripped up for summer. So fired up today. We got a video. This lady is really, really sharp. I love the way she thinks. I love her mindset and how she talks about her philosophy. Her name is Mel Robbins. She's written a book, I believe, called The 5-Second Rule, or something about the 5 seconds of automatically doing something. I really like the way she talks, because sometimes when the real talk, not the la land, everything is going to be good, but there's things to do. You need to do it if you want to have it. When it comes from a woman that is like eloquent and like throws you off sometimes, you're like, wait a minute, I thought you were supposed to be some big burly guy yelling at me when you keep it real like that. And it's like, no, it can come from anybody, because achievement and hunger and being real with yourself is not a person or a look. It's a thought system. So which means it can come inside of anybody. So I really like her, because it's like, she looks like my 3rd grade English teacher, but keeping it super 100. And I'm like, damn, I wish I had that 3rd grade English teacher to keep it super 100 with me. Instead of teaching me just how to do pronouns and verbs, wish you would have told me how to get focused on goals and dreams. So shout out Mel Robbins. Get your notes ready. After, we're going to share some takeaways. Shout out to everybody in the chat thread, lighting it up. We got people from all over NorCal, Inland Empire, Milwaukee in the building, San Bernardino, Phoenix, New Mexico. We got people from everywhere. Shout out, Green Bay in the building, LA in the building. Get your notes ready, because after, we're going to hear some takeaways from you guys. And if you're at work or you can't talk, no problem. Put it in the chat thread. Your perspective is valuable. So without further ado, let's get into Mel Robbins' top 10 rules for success. Boom.
Has over 10 million views on YouTube. Her book, Stop Saying You're Fine, is a business bestseller. She's Mel Robbins, and here's my take on her top 10 rules for success. Also, guys, as you're watching, if you hear something that really resonates with you, please leave it down in the comments below, put quotes around it so other people can be inspired by your sharing. And also, when you write it down, you're much more likely to lock it in for yourself, too. Enjoy.
We bought into this complete falsehood that at some point you're going to have the courage. At some point you're going to have the confidence. And it's total bullshit, frankly. Are we allowed to swear on this show? Okay. It's complete garbage. And so there are so many people in the world, and you know, you may be watching this right now, and you have these incredible ideas, and what you think is missing is motivation. And that's not true. Because the way that our minds are wired, and the fact about human beings, is that we are not designed to do things that are uncomfortable or scary or difficult. Our brains are designed to protect us from those things, because our brains are trying to keep alive. And in order to change, in order to build a business, in order to be the best parent, the best spouse, to do all those things that you know you want to do with your life, with your work, with your dreams, you're going to have to do things that are difficult, uncertain, or scary, which sets up this problem for all of us. you're never going to feel like it. Motivation's garbage. You only feel motivated to do the things that are easy, right?
Why do you think that is?
Oh, I know exactly why that is. Because I've studied this so much, because for me, one of the hardest things to figure out was, why is it so hard to do the little things that would improve my life? And what I've come to realize, and what we'll talk a lot about today, is that the way that our minds are designed is our minds are designed to stop you at all costs from doing anything that might hurt you. And the way that this all happens is, it all starts with something super subtle that none of us ever catch. And that is with this habit that all of us have that nobody's talking about. We all have a habit of hesitating. We have an idea. You're sitting in a meeting. You have this incredible idea. And instead of just, saying it, you stop and you hesitate. Now, what none of us realize is that when you hesitate, just that moment, that micro moment, that small hesitation, it sends a stress signal to your brain. It wakes your brain up, and your brain all of a sudden goes, oh, wait a minute. Why is he hesitating? He didn't hesitate when he put on his killer spiky sneakers. He didn't hesitate with the really cool track pants. He didn't hesitate with the NASA t-shirt. Now he's hesitating to talk. Something must be up. So then your brain goes to work to protect you. It has a million different ways to protect you. One of them is called the spotlight effect. It's a known phenomenon where your brain magnifies risk. Why? To pull you away from something that it perceives to be a problem. And so you can truly trace every single problem or complaint in your life to silence and hesitation. Those are decisions. And what I do, and what's changed my life, is waking up and realizing that motivation's garbage. I'm never going to feel like doing the things that are tough or difficult or uncertain or scary or new. So I need to stop waiting until I feel like it. And number two, I am one decision away from a totally different marriage, a totally different life, a totally different job, a totally different income, a totally different relationship with my kids. Not like one decision, I'm divorcing you in the marriage example, but one decision on, you could be having a conversation with your spouse and you feel your emotions rise up, and within a tiny window, those emotions can take over and can impact how your marriage goes. Or you can learn how to take control of that micro moment and make a decision to act in a way that actually shifts your marriage. Your life comes down to your decisions. And if you change your decisions, you will change everything.
When I was 22, right after I graduated from Dartmouth, I was so focused on making everyone happy that I almost chose the worst possible career for my personality. It's not a bad career. It just would have been horrendous for me. I was interested in the environment. So I decided, I'll go get a law degree, and then I'll go work in Washington. And I think maybe I'll work on environmental policy, and I'd probably end up in some cube farm. And everyone was thrilled with the plan. Everyone, it turns out, but me. So here I am, I'm driving a U-Haul across country to go to law school and to get a degree in environmental law. And something started to gnaw at me. And with every single mile that I drove, my thoughts were getting louder and doubts were starting to pour in. My gut was telling me, Mel, turn the damn U-Haul around. But the problem was that everything was already in place, right? I mean, I'm already in the U-Haul. The thing is already packed. I'm already 10 miles into my drive. The tuition had been paid for the first semester. I had signed a lease. I mean, I could not undo these things. Isn't that why it's so difficult for you to make changes in your life? Because you think that things can't be undone? The fact is, any excuse that you come up with, you can undo. Tuition can be reimbursed, apartments can be leased, plan B can be invented. So I got up, I repacked that U-Haul, and I drove out of town. I let myself make a U-turn in life. If you ever find your gut battling your head, save yourself the drama. I guarantee you, your gut is right. Guarantee you, your excuses can be undone. And I guarantee you, you can make a U-turn in your life right now if you want to. You can be asking for assignments that are above your level. So there's work that you do at your level, and then there's work that you do above your level. And the only way that you're going to be promoted to do work above your level is A, if you can demonstrate that you're capable of doing the work at your level, and B, if you are proactive in seeking out opportunities that expand your capability and give you a chance to work above the level that you're at. Nothing's going to happen unless you take that initial action. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change unless you put down that pen in the meeting and you sit up and you pay attention and you listen for your opportunity to speak. Nothing's going to happen unless you push yourself to go in and make the ask for that assignment that scares you to death.
One night, Chris had gone to bed. I'd been struggling. We still had all the same problems. We still had a lien on the house, still facing bankruptcy, still fighting like crazy. I was still unemployed. They still hadn't figured out like the solution yet for the business. And I was about to turn off the TV, and there on the TV, there was this rocket launching. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is it. I am going to launch myself out of bed like a rocket ship, like NASA right here had launched me out of that bed. And I'm going to move so fast that I don't think. I'm going to beat my brain. Now, here's a really interesting point. I talk a lot about your instincts and inner wisdom. And we can get into this a little bit later, but a lot of us talk about the fact that you have a gut feeling. But what all this research that I've done for the book and all the speaking that I do, what I've discovered that's fascinating is actually when you set goals, when you have an intention on something that you want to change about your life, your brain helps you. What it does is it opens up a checklist, and then your brain goes to work trying to remind you of that intention that you set. And it's really important to develop the skill. And I say that word purposefully, the skill of knowing how to hear that inner wisdom and that intention kicking in and leaning into it quickly. So for me, my brain saying, that's it, right there, move as fast as a rocket, Mel. I wanted to change my life. And I think most people that are miserable or that are really like dying to be great and dying to have more, we want to change. We want to live a better life. We want to create more for our families. We want to be happier. The desire is there. Again, it's about how do you go from knowledge to action. So the first thing in the story that's important is realizing that the answer was in me. And my mind was telling me, pay attention. Could have also been the bourbon. I had a couple of Manhattans that night. But anyway, the next morning, the alarm goes off, and I pretended NASA was there. It's the stupidest story. I literally went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I counted out loud, and then I stood up. And I'll never forget standing there in my bedroom. It was dark. It was cold. It was winter in Boston. And for the first time in 3 months, I had beaten my habit of hitting the snooze button. I couldn't believe it. And I thought, wait a minute. Counting backwards? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Well, the next morning I used it again and it worked. The next morning I used it again and it worked. The next morning I used it again and it worked. And then I started to notice something really interesting. There were moments all day long, just like that 5-second moment in bed where I knew knowledge what I should do. And if I didn't move within 5 seconds, my brain would step in and talk me out of it. Every human being has a 5-second window. It might even be shorter for you. You have about a 5-second window in which you can move from idea to action before your brain kicks into full gear and sabotages any change in behavior. Because remember, your brain is wired to stop you from doing things that are uncomfortable or uncertain or scary. It's your job to learn how to move from those ideas that could change everything into acting on them. I think you have to be really in tune with your impulses and with your natural state of curiosity. And your curiosity and the things that you're naturally drawn toward, that's the guide. If you could spend hours singing, if you could spend hours baking, if you could spend hours writing, if you could spend hours learning code, that's a huge signal that that's something that you're really innately interested in. And so if you're curious about something, if you notice that you daydream about being a writer, if you notice that you daydream about starting a tech company, if you notice you daydream about building bridges, follow your curiosity. And you can do that a number of ways. First of all, Google it. There are millions and millions of pages out there on the web that are related to what you're interested in. Secondly, find an online course. Most of the major universities are offering their courses online for free. Third, buy a book about it. Put yourself in a collision course with the thing that you're curious about, and you will get closer and closer and closer to figuring it out.
What about when someone can't realize or identify their own negative feelings? Someone that has been conditioned to live in negative feelings and believes that that's normal. This question comes from Basso Anna Denagaga.
It is your normal. You're right. It's a really, first of all, I'm sorry that that's been your experience of life, because that really stinks, and it doesn't have to be that way. But here's where I want you to go. What's interesting about what you said is the fact that these feelings are normal, okay? Normal just means you're used to them, but you don't have to live with them. So even though you're so used to these negative feelings and these feelings of doubt, you still don't like them. You still have the ability to stop that. So I want you to think of a moment in time when you were really happy. Like, it could be a memory from being little. It could be something that you dream of doing. And I want you to come up with something really specific about that moment, okay? Like, think about what you were wearing, or think about the blue sky. That is going to be what I call your anchor thought. Every time from this moment forward that you wake up or you find yourself drifting to those normal feelings of, I'm a loser, I'm worthless, I'm never going to find love. They may be things that you're used to thinking, but that doesn't matter, because you can change them. The second that you feel that, you've drifted over into that thought, and I keep coming over here because when you start using the rule, you're going to start to literally feel which part of your mind you're using. The worries kind of happen here. I want you to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I want you to insert this vision of yourself where you felt really good. And if you can't think of one, invent one. How would you feel if you were in love? How would you feel if you loved yourself? How would you feel if you did that thing that you're scared of, that you keep talking yourself out of? That's your anchor thought. Now, when you first start using the rule, particularly when you're breaking a habit of thinking negative thoughts, when you first start doing it, you may need to use the 5-second rule 73 times in one day. That's okay. I had to do it like that when I was first using the rule to cure myself of anxiety. When I would start to worry about anything, I'd start to worry about, my kids, or I'd start to worry about money, and I'd feel my thoughts drift, and then I'd start to feel my heart race. I would stabilize my thoughts, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'd activate my prefrontal cortex, lower the worries, on the other side, and then I would start to think about something that actually made me feel really calm or excited. That is the battle of your mind. And, the other thing about normal that I just want to say is that the reason why it feels normal to doubt yourself and to have low self-worth is because you've thought this so long. It's become a pattern, just like chewing your nails becomes a pattern of behavior that you don't think about. Well, the cool thing is that based on science, you can actually change any pattern, even a thinking one. So use the 5-second rule. Every single time you catch yourself thinking the nasty stuff, and then activate your prefrontal cortex and force yourself to think something positive.
Every single morning.
All right, you guys. We'll have to probably come back to her for the rest of the rules, but let's get into it. You ready to share nuggets?
Yes.
Let's get it. Boo actually came up with this video, so I'm excited for some dope nuggets.
There's another video too that I found. I think she's doing like a TED Talk, and she is just like amazing. She keeps it super, super like real. But today, my takeaways, I love when she was talking about hesitation. She said, when you feel like hesitating, count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get into the action, because our brains are so wired to keeping us protected that the moment that we feel like doing something and the moment that we overthink it, we don't do it. And it's inside of those things where our whole lives can be changed because of the action that we're taking on inside of our life. And so I love the whole thing, like even when you're in bed and you hit the snooze button, I'm a big snoozer, I will admit it. I can snooze that button for like 4 or 5 times, but inside of that, now that I think about it, every time I hit the snooze button, it's like the snooze has control and power over me versus me having control and power over myself and over the way that I choose to just get up and wake up. And so I'm excited about taking that on, because inside of that, it's like taking your power back whenever you feel like saying something and then you're like, oh, well, are they going to think I'm dumb, or you want something, like just being more attached to the things that I want and following the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I really, really love that. And I do love how she said you're literally one decision away from a completely different life. She said your life comes down to your decisions. If you change your decisions, your whole life can change. And that's all it is. It's all in our decisions. Like our whole life is just made up of all the choices and the decisions we've made in the past year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years. But we don't have to live like we are right now if we're not happy with how we're living right now. And that's the power in that. So that's those two. And then last one is work above your level. Proactive about seeking opportunities, and then like knowledge to action. But the biggest one is work above your level. So do the things that you know you should be doing awesome. But then if you want more in life, if you want to get that promotion or whatever it is, if you want inside of Herbalife, you want to move to the next pin, you have to be willing to work above your level than what you are right now in order to attract what you're wanting to attract in your life.
I love that. All right, great stuff. We got one of the takeaways, Selena Ibarra. Break habit of negative thinking. It's a normal habit. Think of a happy place. I heard this 2 months ago, and it helped me so much with thinking of my graduation from high school. I think of that every time I feel like kicking in a negative 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. High school graduation kicks in. I accomplished in high school. My family was there. Think of your happy, love yourself, and imagine the happy thoughts you want for you. Love it. Awesome. A couple of the biggest takeaways from me, and keep throwing your takeaways in the chat there if you're not going to be able to share. And after this, we're going to get some shares. Understanding how your mind is designed. Your mind is designed for survival, not for happiness. When I realized this, and I'm talking about, I use the word realize intentionally, to know something, you know that if you walked, you could get to New York. But you understand and realize and really comprehend it inside of your action that if you walk, you could get down the block. That's what you really understand. You would never walk to New York unless you really want to be like, Forrest Gump. So understanding and knowing are two different things. When I really understood inside of my actions, my mind is designed for survival, not happiness. I started to understand why I did a lot of the things I did. Why do you eat a lot of salty, sweet, fattening foods? Why? Because that's designed for our survival. Our body likes that stuff. Why do, at times in your life, you date a lot of people? If you've dated a lot of people, why? Because your body was created to procreate. And I started to understand these things. I was like, okay, but that doesn't mean it makes you happy, because I would see people eat a lot. I would see people date a lot, but I didn't necessarily see them happy. And I started to understand survival and flourishing, happiness, fulfillment are not the same thing. And once I understood that, I was like, whoa, just because my mind may tell me this doesn't mean it's the best thing for me here in 2017. Maybe if it was 7,000 years ago and I was on the plains and the caves, it might have worked for me then. And you had to understand that your operating system still has some things from back then. That would be like saying, well, my iPhone, it has Siri now, but I'm going to use all this other stuff from the iPhone 1, like the letters. Okay, the letters are cool, and there'll be one day where you don't have to use the letters anymore. But if you want to use the letters for the next 100 years, people are going to look at you crazy, and it's going to decrease your efficiency. One day, there'll be a day where you can just say everything, and it'll get your exact dialect, and it'll get your sentence like that. And you up here still trying to use the letters. Why? Because you're using the programming from iPhone 1, wondering why everybody's going faster than you and everybody's communicating better than you. It's because your survival and your flourishing are not the same thing. And sometimes they'll even impact each other. So that was really big. Understanding how the mind works, it's a great tool, but it does have limitations. And you are the controller of the tool. You are the operator of the tool, not the tool itself. That was a big one for me. And then listen to your gut. She said, if you ever have your head and your gut in opposition, I guarantee your gut is right. Save yourself some time. And, you know, I don't know about you. I'm sure you guys have had some bad or some tough decisions where it's like, man, my head is telling me this, but my gut is telling me this. Or maybe you said it was my heart is telling me this. You thought that it made sense.
Over here.
Your feeling did not feel in alignment with how it felt in your mind. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's a person or a relationship. Maybe it's a school. Maybe it was a move. Something that on the surface looked right, but didn't feel right. And she said, save yourself some time and go with your gut. And I'll tell you guys, this is one of the truest things in your world. I'll tell you like this. I've never met somebody, and this is myself included, that when they had opposition of head and gut and went with their gut, have ever been like, damn, I messed up, yo. I messed up. It's always been, think about the stories. Oh, man, you know, I had my head and my gut, and then I went with my gut. I went with my heart, and it worked out. How many stories have you heard like that? Roxy's over here smiling like, oh, yeah, me. When we were getting together, I had some of those things going on inside of my mindset. It always works out when you follow your heart. I'm going to tell you, I've never met somebody on the street that was like, yo, man, it all messed up for me when I followed my heart. I've never met anybody like that. But I've met a lot of people that, yo, I just followed my head. I just thought I'd do the safe decision. I just played it safe. I met a lot of people like that that aren't happy. Think about that. Think about that. So that was a big one for me. Let's get a few takeaways from the caller-ins. Give me a thumbs up or a smile if you're excited to call or excited to share. Deandra, what's up? What are you excited to share? What was your biggest takeaway?
I was just really like how Roxy was saying about the snooze button. I do that every day, and I can't stress enough how upset I get with myself that I don't wake up early, or if I don't wake up on time and I'm just late for everything, and it just makes me more discouraged about myself. So
I think we lost her. But we got the point. Waking up earlier, no more snooze life. Roxy, you taking that on too?
Yeah.
All right, let's get it. Roxy's on that same mission. Let's get another 2 takeaways. Give me a thumbs up or a smile. Thank you for that, Deandra.
Chef.
Fit Chef, 24/7. You're not just waking up, are you?
Nah, bro. Actually, I do that same method because I heard Mel Robbins a while ago. And waking up at 5 in the morning every day could get pretty stressful. So what I do is literally throw the freaking covers off the bed, and then like I'll run to go use the restroom or like go make a shake or something, like just to get up. Like literally, like, because if you wait, if you hit that snooze button, you'll end up like my best friend, chilling in bed.
no way.
I'm just chilling.
Great takeaway. Throw the covers off. Jump out of bed. I'm taking that on tomorrow. I'm taking that on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to jump out of bed.
We are.
We'll see. All right, let's get
He
on.
pushes the snooze.
I do. I have pushed the snooze a lot. And what I do, this isn't smart. No, it is smart, but it's not good for you. I put the clock earlier, so if I snooze a few times, I get up at the time I want to. I'm not going to do that anymore. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. I'm jumping out of bed and screaming. All right, one more takeaway. Give me a thumbs up or a smile.
Yo.
Preston, what's up, man? Give us your
What's happening? What's happening? Your boy has been running all night, so I'm a little tired. But my big takeaway from this was acting on that first 5 seconds when you get that feeling going. Oh, my, I can't tell. When I heard that, every fiber of my being shivered because I think we've all had that moment where we're like, this would be a great idea, and we waited just too long. So I'm going to definitely implement that into my life every single day. Super fire.
Let's get it, Coach P. We about to make it happen. We're going to go from knowing to doing. Love it. Great job, you guys. Man, fire call today. Make sure that you repost a flyer of Mel Robbins, a flyer of yourself, a flyer from the call, whatever it is to pay forward the knowledge, the inspiration, and the wisdom you got today from Mel. You guys always invite to Triple M every single Monday. And if you have people that couldn't make it, send them the link. I'm going to upload it to YouTube. Do not get this info by yourself, because if you're the only person that's motivated in your group, you're not going to be motivated. They're going to bring you back. So let's get it. Let's have a great Monday. Fire it up. It's time to get to work.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Go.